Tonight, we are commemorating International Day of Solidarity with the Palestinian people. Actually, the United Nations last year declared it the year of solidarity with the Palestinian people. So this happened in 1947, where the UN saw fit to partition Palestine without consulting the indigenous people of Palestine, but they did it anyway, and they gave most of the area of Palestine to a Jewish state. That's 56%, and 43% went to an Arab state or a Palestinian state. The 1.5% of the rest of Palestine was to be internationalized, which was Jerusalem, basically, the city of Jerusalem and Bethlehem. So since then, Israel was established in 1948 after an aggressive war where they controlled 80%, or to be exact, 78% of the area of Palestine. That's adding to the 56 that was allotted to them by the United Nations in the partition plan. And the history is clear. You know, Canada, the US, and Western powers played a concrete role in establishing the State of Israel and in dispossessing the Palestinian people of their homes and their homeland. And, you know, Canada played a major role, and it's a history. I always talk about it. I'm going to surprise you this time. I'm not going to talk about it because the facts are known. They are all over the internet, and people know Lester Pearson, who was called by the Zionists the Balfour of Canada, the second Balfour, and Judge Rand in the partition plan. Their role was more important than even the British or the Americans in the partition plan. So, you know, Canada carries a major responsibility, not just for the dispossession of the Palestinian people, but also for the atrocities that followed since 1947 till now against the Palestinian people, the ethnic cleansing of Palestinians, the war crimes that were committed against the Palestinians, and the over 400 towns and villages that was wiped out of the face of the earth to build settlements and to build Israel on top of the rubble of Palestine. So I think it's important to realize that Canada played a major role in that and continues. You know, it didn't start with Harper, sorry. It started in 47 with Lester Pearson. Then he used to be the Undersecretary of State for Foreign Affairs. And then he became the Secretary of State for Foreign Affairs. And in 56 became the Prime Minister. After 56 became the Prime Minister who got the Peace Prize for serving Israel interests and for really trying to protect Israel from what then was the Nasserist trend in the Arab world, especially in Egypt. So I'd like to say a few things. The solidarity movement is growing, and it's heartening to see last summer when the aggression against Gaza, literally thousands of people came in support of the Palestinian people. Here, I'm talking about Vancouver. I'm not talking worldwide, but in Vancouver, it's really growing. There were 4 huge demonstrations, and literally thousands came out in support. So the support work is growing, and I think it's important to recognize it and to say and promise ourselves we are going to intensify it because it's an issue of human rights, an issue of peace and security, not just for the Palestinian, but for the Arab world and the Middle East and the whole world in general. I just like to quote something for you that when the assault on the main cities in 2002 happened, it was really, you know, Sharon didn't just go into the cities, the Palestinian cities, Ramallah, Bethlehem, Nablus, all the major cities. And he basically, violated the Oslo Accord because these cities were Area A. And when he entered these cities, he violated the Oslo Accord. But again, it wasn't without permission of the Americans. Actually, 5 days before the assault started, on the 29th of March, 2002, the Washington Post wrote, and I'm quoting, Shimon Schiefer, arguably Israel's best connected political reporter, wrote in the newspaper Yediot Ahronot today, that was on March 24th, 2002, today, that when Vice President Cheney visited Israel last week, Sharon reached an agreement with him that if Zini mission fails, Washington would support Israeli strike on the Palestinians. US officials did not deny the report. This is from the Washington Post. So this is how it started in 2002, and Rachel and Brian, a year later, went to basically, because they realized the extent of the American government complicity in these war crimes, they went and volunteered with the International Solidarity Movement. And I recognize that many people also here from Vancouver went and volunteered with the International Solidarity Movement. To my latest count, 18 people from Vancouver and Victoria went and volunteered with the International Solidarity Movement. So it's not just it is a local issue also, that we are participating in it here in Vancouver alongside the international community from all over the world. And the story of the International Solidarity Movement was very clear. I think most people know it, how the UN refused to accept manators after the first Intifada, and the US vetoed the resolution to send manators to keep the peace, basically, and to protect the Palestinians from this vicious military assault. But the US vetoed that in 2001, I believe it's in April, and Canada played a role in defeating a prior resolution after the first Intifada started in December, in December 2000, in December 2000, where the Canada was on the Security Council, and all we needed is a 9th member to agree with the resolution. Canada abstained, so the resolution failed, basically saying we want to send manators. And this is how the idea started of the International Solidarity Movement after that, to send manators to see, since the governments are not going to do it, the Canadian government, the European governments, or the American government, we're going to do it ourselves as rank and file witnesses to this atrocity. And this is how the idea started of the ISM. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce our first guest speaker, who was shot brutally by Israeli forces while basically he's trying to witness what they are doing. Brian Avery was shot, I believe, a month after Rachel Corrie was crushed to death by the Israeli bulldozers, and he was shot in the face. And he is, if people would like to know some more about Brian, he's a lifelong activist and musician who gained notoriety in the early 2000s as a member of the International Solidarity Movement, a Palestinian solidarity corrective working in Zionist-occupied Palestine to document war crimes and human rights violation by Israeli troops. Mr. Avery was targeted as a member of that effort and shot in the face by Israeli soldiers operating in the city of Jenin. He suffered extensive injuries requiring years of constructive surgery. Mr. Avery has spoken widely about his experiences and continues to do so. He holds a master's degree in international relations and currently resides in North Carolina, where he is a musician with award-winning Grammy-considered nomination pending pop band Spaceship Days. Let's welcome Brian.